guys. Welcome to the Mom Voice. This is Lauren and Sarah with episode 78.
Okay, Lauren, big news came out this week about Walmart Plus. Do you know this?
Oh, I saw it, but I don't know what it is. Okay. I know.
Well, I'm about to tell you.
Tell me.
It is episode 78, and we're excited to be here, guys. It's another Monday.
New week.
New week. We're feeling good. And yeah, this was big news because it's going to compete with Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that's what I saw, the Primes.
Exactly.
Comparable.
So it's going to be a service where literally you can have delivered groceries. Anything in the Walmart store, pretty much, will be delivered to your house as long as it's a minimum of $35. Game changer.
Groceries delivered?
Groceries delivered.
So is it a subscription paid yearly type thing?
Yeah. So like I said, they're going after Amazon Prime because, I mean, obviously
Prime rules the world.
Side note, Jeff Bezos, the president of Amazon Prime, just reported in the news, guess how much that fool's worth? Just guess, Lauren.
Tell me at least.
You're going to go high. You're going to say $3 trillion.
I'm going to go to the T's, the trills.
Yeah.
No, $5 billion.
Okay, $300 billion.
No.
Jeff Bezos
is that
worth.
like the richest man in the world now?
I have no idea, but it's got to be up there.
Oh
top two.
Gosh.
And that correlates to he could spend $1 million a day for like 400, 500 years, girl. How disgusting is that?
That's disturbing.
I'm like, get off your ass, Bezos. Go give it to all the poor people in the world.
$1 million
right?
a day. Yeah, is he like donating half of that?
He should be. Bill Gates did.
Be.
I mean, come on. Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's sick.
So now I'm like anti-Amazon. I'm like, he don't need nothing else. Like we need to go.
Oh, but it's so funny because I remember back in the day of high school econ, I had this teacher, shout out to Mr. Roberts. He was amazing, but he was anti-Walmart back then. 25 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, no, I guess I haven't been out of high school that long, but almost 20 years ago. He's like, he would teach us that, they were the big consumer just eating all the little shops and that they would, what's it called when you
monopoly.
Underpay? Well, when you underpay overseas too, that's called
outsource things.
Well, but yeah, when you pay almost like children and stuff.
I know.
It's like there's a term for it.
It is, and I don't know.
Yeah, when you're just and you're paying them 10 cents a day.
Migrant labor, essentially.
It's wrong, essentially.
Yeah.
And so he's like, don't support the big dogs. Don't shop at Walmart. This is so long ago. But now Walmart's funny to me because even when I was in high school, I don't think I ever stepped foot in a Walmart. Like Walmart kind of had this funny stigma. They weren't
city girl.
I guess I was a city girl. There wasn't that many of them, really. For me in high school,
no. Yeah.
we had to drive probably 10 or 15 minutes to one. 15 minutes probably. Whereas now they're on every corner.
Yeah.
And I feel like they had just really catered to the consumer of obviously groceries and affordable prices. They used to price match. And they don't anymore, but they do probably have the lowest price around.
Yeah, that's their model. They want to be the low cost leader, which means that you're giving up customer service things, like other amenities type things that maybe Target gives you, the warm and cozies when you go in there. You give those things up when you go to Walmart.
That's true, fair.
But no, for me, and we said this in our pilot episode, we talked about Walmart. Do you remember?
I kind of do. This is triggering past memories a little bit.
Oh my gosh, yes, we absolutely did. And I grew up with a small Walmart, not a supercenter, in my little town of Gilmer, Texas. And it was like everything. I mean, we went there all the time for every little thing, and it slowly did. So then we got a super center, and it did. It started putting all of the little town businesses out of business.
Yeah.
I mean, my family owned a feed store, seed and feed store, and again, Gilmer, a small town there, and it slowly did. People started going to Walmart to get their seeds and their soil and their all the things they need, and so it did. The tire shops, the shoe stores on the square, we have a square, literally, in Back to the Future, we have a town square. And the poor square now, it's just so sad at what Walmart did to that. Yeah, it's so sad. Right. But it is what it is. And
it's almost inevitable,
It is inevitable. It is what it is. We live in a different day now of digital. We want it now. We go.
I mean, honestly, just hearing this, it almost makes you wonder with COVID and this type of thing, will you just ever go to a store anymore?
Oh, I know.
Like if your groceries can be delivered at an affordable price, I never do grocery delivery because I don't want to pay the $10, $15
who
surcharge.
does?
So, but if this is like a Prime situation and I can get my full lineup of groceries at my door,
Done.
that's next level.
That is next
and I
level.
mean, I could see myself not, and with the COVID and germs and people being scared, they're just not going to go into stores anymore.
Oh, I know.
That's
totally
crazy.
I know. It is crazy.
So will you do Amazon or Walmart? Will you go to Walmart?
Here's my beef with Amazon. I really have loved Prime for years.
Right, me too.
I have been a Prime member for over 5 years now. But let me say this with Amazon. I think the quality control on Amazon is slowly going downhill. Within the past year alone, I feel like I've ordered certain products, like light bulbs, for instance, for our Halloween party. I ordered these cool light bulbs that were color changing, all this stuff.
They didn't work.
They were dupes. They were like China dupes that don't work. They had the GE brand on them, but then when you look closely, it was not an actual GE product. Like they're selling them. And so I feel
That's not right. Yeah.
No, I feel like Amazon is very known for that though. Like you're getting straight from China, you're getting
China
like
prices and quality.
Exactly. Like the quality control on Amazon, like I don't trust any sort of hair product, perfume, anything I'm buying on Amazon.
I've heard that about the perfumes and colognes. Don't trust that it's actual.
No. And so like any of that stuff, I'm just not trusting it.
That's
Whereas
a good point.
if Walmart can actually give me the Redken shampoo that I know that I use and want, like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
And I will say, I mean, bless their hearts, but since Corona, like, the shipping has become definitely a big thing for Prime. And I know that's like obviously other factors, but they're still not like playing catch up. I still feel like things are late. And so I'm like, and I totally understand that, but I'm like, oh, let's like get it back.
I know.
I
it's
love
crazy.
That. You could count on like things could be there the next day. It was like incredible.
I know.
But
I know. So let me break it down for you really quick. Cause I know as moms, this is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Especially with the whole pandemic thing going on. So when you compare the two, Amazon Prime, well, first of all, Walmart Plus is starting on September 15th. So when this episode airs, it'll only be about a week out. The yearly cost of Prime today is $119 a year.
Okay.
Walmart Plus, $98. Okay. I foresee that going up just like Prime did. It went up over time. So the free trial, there is a free trial for Walmart for 15 days. You could try it out. Same day delivery. They are equal. They both have $35 and up delivery minimums.
In groceries or in anything?
Yeah. Groceries and anything. Yeah.
But you have to spend $35 to have something delivered?
To have the free delivery included.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to buy light bulbs for $15, it's not free.
It might have a delivery charge.
Okay.
But you would need to add on some milk and some bread and things you need to get to $35.
So are they coming straight from the Walmart store? Mm-hmm. It's not coming from a warehouse?
That's what I understand.
So it's coming from the store. So, I mean, okay.
When I read about this, they said it only made sense because most Americans have a Walmart store within 10 miles of them.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat.
That is a crazy stat. But like that means that you're getting things delivered very quickly compared to waiting 2 days for Amazon, right?
Okay.
So they both do grocery delivery. Amazon does have the media stuff included that you get with Prime.
The shows,
all of that stuff. But then to battle that, Walmart is going to be giving you a fuel discount with your Plus. And we don't know what that is yet. But you're going to be saving money on gas if you fuel at Walmart. So that could be a game changer. That could equal a lot of dollars.
And that is a lot more appealing than some of the Amazon Prime options.
Oh, totally.
Prime doesn't have a lot, to be honest.
And let's be real, we've already like run through all of their content by now.
Right.
Like,
they just don't have and they just don't even have a lot of new releases.
No.
I mean, their originals are good, but like if you go there for a movie, they just don't have a lot. You're paying for it.
Totally. You're totally paying for it. So anyway, I just wanted to run that down because might be an option. I think I will make the switch because, I mean, not to say that I'll get rid of Prime right away, but I just have found myself ordering less and less on Prime anyway. Now that Target Drive Up is available, I do Target Drive Up a lot. I mean, so I don't know. We'll see. And Walmart grocery prices are so cheap.
Yeah, no, right.
They're so cheap.
That's the thing. Even if, I mean, I do like our local fries. I think they have good, that's a Arizona, Phoenix based.
Yeah.
I do think they have good sales, but Walmart, really, you can't beat, like,
No.
just no sales, no coupons, nothing. They just have the best pricing.
Yeah, you know what you're getting there. Totally.
Interesting.
I know. Okay, well, in this episode, it's Labor Day, guys.
Labor Day.
When this episode goes out, it's going to be Labor Day. We're sharing our labor stories.
Yes. Well, hopefully you're doing something fun for Labor Day
That's
or
right.
the nice long weekend. But this will be fun to share kind of a little backstory to our babies and their births.
That's right. We've kind of mentioned them here and there throughout the course of the show, but I think we've never really done an episode specific to them. So.
Yeah, I told Sarah I could not believe I haven't elaborated or shared more about this subject. So I'm excited to share. I think we both have unique things to say about it.
Yeah.
Experiences.
So if you're a new listener, let's give a quick rundown. How many kids do you have, Lauren?
So I'm Lauren, the
blonde,
curly-haired one. We do learn that we have to emphasize and separate those things. I have Tristan, who's 10. Evelyn and Emmett, they're twins that just turned 8. And I have Caleb, who turns 5 on Sunday. Oh, well, I guess he's already 5 when this comes out. So his birthday was this weekend.
So fun.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm Sarah. I am the darkerish headed one, straight hair typically. Well, straightish. And I have 3 children. I have Kate, who is 7, almost turning 8. Landon's 5, and my Luke is 3.5.
Yeah.
So, and we're both done having children.
Yes.
Unless there's an intervention from God himself, we are done having children.
We have both in our relationships taken permanent measures for that. Really, it would have to be an intervention. But we're good with that. We've closed the baby door.
Totally.
But it is so fun to talk about.
It's so fun to talk about. And in a funny way, I was just talking to one of our friends yesterday who has an 18-month-old and just talking about how hard those days are. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I was telling her, oh my gosh, it's crazy how when you're in those days of, juggling the baby and the diapers and the teething and those really, really hard days, you feel like they're just going to last forever.
Yeah.
And there's no end in sight. But then to look at it, Luke is only 3 now. He's only been potty trained for 6 months, but no joke, ever since he's been potty trained, it's just a different world.
Yeah.
It's different. Not being pregnant, having no pregnancy on the horizon, having all of my children somewhat independent and capable.
Right.
Not waking me up in the middle of the night. We're finally to the point where in the morning they get up, they go watch TV.
Yep.
And I have some peace in the morning.
I know. Right. Right.
I was just telling her, I was saying, girl, I remember literally a year ago, I was fighting with Kate in the morning to get dressed for school. She didn't want to get dressed. Mm-hmm. I was trying to get ready for work with Luke screaming on my heels, grabbing at me, wanting me to hold him, just the juggle and wanting to pull my hair out. And it's just such a drastic difference.
In just a year.
That 1 year makes.
1 year.
It's crazy.
So there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it's hard to sometimes see that when you're in it.
It's so hard.
But then you look back and you're like, holy cow. Caleb turning 5 this weekend, he's my baby. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny how 5 is so old. I remember when my oldest turned 5, I was like, he is a big boy. He's this. Oh, and now that it's my baby turning 5, I still just want him to be a baby, but he's not. He's a freaking 5-year-old. He is capable of doing everything. He started T-ball this week, all the things. And so it's so weird. And as excited as I am to leave that chapter, because 5's fully out. Luke is still cute and toddlerish. But I'm fully out of it, and it is a little bittersweet. It is a new chapter. I'm so excited for the new things that we have opportunities to do because we don't have any sort of of that tie down. But it's sad too. It's weird.
You have Gus now.
Now I've Gus, my other child. Dun, dun, dun.
Let's talk about Gus for a minute.
Well,
you got to follow up on that.
Well, just a quick follow up. We don't really need to.
Tell them who Gus is.
Gus is our dog. He actually turns a year in September too. And
he's your baby of the house.
Yeah, he is the baby of the house, and he is needy. You guys want to talk about crying at your heels and Oh my gosh, needy. Like he is super needy right now specifically too. And
Aw.
it's weird because he got neutered about 3 weeks ago. And
Ouch.
usually when they get neutered, you get them neutered, obviously not to have puppies, but also with a male to keep them a little more.
Stop pumping things,
Yeah,
Gus.
well, definitely that. And it also takes away a lot of that testosterone. So they're not so like aggressive and
Right.
like whatever, crazy dog. So I was kind of expecting a little bit of a lull to come after this. I feel like he stepped it up for some reason.
Really?
Because I just feel like, and George has been in and out of town, and George does handle, and he like responds so much better to George, but he's just been wanting. And it's hot. It's just like all of the things. It's the same thing. It's like literally adding him on the list of the kids. It's just hot outside. We're all just over the summer. We're burnt out. He wants to be inside all day. And I just...
Hold me, Mom.
Yeah,
Hold me.
I'm okay with him inside a chunk of the day, but not like all day. And then he's chewing on things more now than ever. I swear.
Touch my Tories and you're done,
Oh
Gus.
my gosh. Don't even. I would be sick to my stomach. No, but he hasn't chewed anything like too precious. But I mean, if he gets something, it's like shredded, chewed, gone. And it wasn't that way like the first 6 months. Like he'd like find little things and he'd nibble. But now it's like full on chewing, shredding.
He's teething. He's
Well,
now teething.
Well, we said he was teething for a while
I'm
now.
totally
and
kidding. I don't know.
No, George says that. He's like, his teeth are coming in. He's got to be 9 on stuff. And I'm like, oh my heck. So there are days where I'm like, what have I done? And I say to George, I'm like, George, I stopped having a baby. I stopped having babies for a reason. And here I am with another baby. And even the funniest things, Sarah, like
What?
I leave
Tell
a
me.
room and I'm mopping and he is in another room making a mess. Like just like, I'm like, he got a cardboard box from the garbage. He chewed it up. He's pulled out the toys. I was like, I just cleaned this room. Like it is literally like a baby again.
Oh my gosh.
A toddler.
I just love it. I love when you rant on
I'm
Gus.
still in there, guys. I am still in the trenches
Oh
in
my
just a different way.
So freaking
It's
funny.
crazy.
It's so funny. Why did you get a dog? For your husband. You took one for the team.
For my husband and my children.
I know.
They do have fun with them.
I know.
And I put a lot on them. I mean, I make them pick up the poop and feed them. And I'm
I
like,
know.
you take them out for a quick walk. Like,
You're a good mom.
So I make them like carry the load. But for me, some days I'm just like,
Oh my
why?
gosh. I freaking love it. It's so funny.
Why?
Okay, let's talk labor.
Yes.
I want to hear first story. Kick us off. Well, Tristan's was pretty normal, right?
Well, yeah, I should say with all of mine, and you too, I was essentially induced on all of them. Tristan too, he was a few days overdue. My doctor was going out of town. So she said, either we can induce you like tomorrow or you'll just have to wait out and probably get the on-call doctor. And I'm like, let's just go for it.
Yeah, that's right.
So his was by the book other than the induction. The induction
Yeah.
did take a long time. I remember being my very first time and having to do that balloon thing and the Pitocin. And I remember being like, this is just drawing out really long. But I can say with Tristan, what was unique about his is his was the one pregnancy I can vividly remember contractions the best. Like I remember the Pitocin really got me going all of a sudden prior to my epidural. I got an epidural for all of them. And I remember there was just maybe an hour that I had to do contractions before I could get my epidural. And I remember it was tough. Like that was like, and I can't even remember them very much from my second and third delivery, but that little period, I can remember being like, wow, it like took my breath away.
We'll talk about those later with my Luke. Yes, for sure. So let's go in chronological order.
Yeah.
So that was Tristan. Let's hit on your twins.
Yes.
Birth.
Twins was definitely my most like crazy unique experience.
Remind me of all of that, how it happened. It was planned, right?
No, it wasn't. It was what I meant by me being induced that day is, so I had my 2 sisters in town. It was the end of the summer and they really wanted to be there for the babies to come. And with twins, it's like, I mean, it's a shocker or like a huge success if you really can make it past 36 weeks.
Right.
So I'm hitting my 37th week. So I'm thrilled. Like pretty much at that point, twins are done and they really won't let you go beyond 38 weeks.
Okay.
So here I am in the 37 window. My sisters are both in town from out of town where they live and they really wanted to be there for the delivery. So I'm like trying to do all the at-home induction stuff.
Oh, yeah, you are.
So I did lots of goofy things. And the one thing that I did do the night before my water broke was I did primrose oil.
Oh, yeah.
And those are pills that you can like swallow, but you can also supposedly, if you take the oil and put it up on your cervix, it helps thin it out fast.
Oh, okay.
So
and smell very nice, I'm assuming.
Right.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, I don't know if that actually attributed to me going into labor, but that's what happened the night before. So the next morning was our anniversary. It was our anniversary on the 22nd.
Right.
And I woke up feeling like slightly wet, but like not like a gush, but I was like a little wet and I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm like, is this, you're just so many fluids and discharges and all the things. So I'm like, I don't know. Do you think? And he's like, well, George had taken the morning off. He was going to take me to breakfast for our anniversary. And we're like, well, why don't we just run by and triage and get checked?
Yes.
So we do. We run to triage. We're there. It's kind of slow. I'm not hurting or anything, but I was like, I just want to double check my water hasn't. It's like a trickle,
leakage.
like a leakage. Yeah, it's not a gush. It's like trickling. So, and supposedly with primrose oil.
Did you think it was pee at any point?
No, I didn't.
It felt different.
And it looked different. I mean, it was like kind of like a glossy, like clear. It wasn't like, and I'm pretty sure it was coming from my vagina. So I was like, no, I think. So we go to triage and the nurse takes it and was like, let me put it under the microscope because I guess amniotic fluid shows like a crystallized form type thing in the microscope.
Okay.
So, and they were like, you seem fine. You're not like dilated or anything.
Oh my gosh,
really.
The finger movement.
Well, I was like, I have to remember all these words.
I know. We have
amniotic fluid, dilated. I haven't said these things for a while. And so she like runs off and I'm like literally getting dressed to leave because she's like, I think you're probably fine. Like, blah, blah, blah. And she like kind of hustles down the hall. Wait. No. That's amniotic fluid. You're
in labor.
You're going to probably go into labor. You probably should stay.
They're in the chute. They're ready to come out.
So I was like, what? Really? And so I was like, okay. So, and it was crazy because I did go rather quick from there. Like they got me into a room and I do remember.
So wait a minute. Did you have a hospital bag and everything with you?
Well, I mean, I was in my 37th week. I was prepped. I don't know
Did
if it
you
was
go to the
me.
hospital thinking this might be it?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, you did. Okay.
Kind of.
I don't remember.
I was hoping to deliver soon. One of my sisters had left, but my other sister was still here. So
you get in a room.
I get in a room. And all I can really remember from that, my sister was there. She was videotaping. I told her, do you want to come in and videotape? Because with twins, it has to be delivered in an OR in case of like emergency. So they're going to wheel me into an OR room instead of labor and delivery room.
Okay.
And so I told my sister, which is not like me. I was really surprised, kind of on a whim. I was like, do you want to come in and like you can film him? She's like, no. She said, no, you guys do it. It's okay. And I was like, are you sure? Because she was from Virginia and she was so excited and she did it, but she was there for everything else.
Yeah.
And so George gets in full OR garb and the whole suit and everything. And he comes with me. We're rolled in.
And hold on. So why are you in an operating room?
Just because
you were doing
twins,
vaginally at this point.
Yeah, but they
right.
just the same thing with twins. Just precautionary that if I don't know
something goes wrong, which
and
something did.
Something did go wrong. Yeah. So they thank goodness we were in an OR. I do remember with the twins feeling the need, specific to them, feeling the need to push. Like I never had felt that before. Like it was just like, okay, now it's time, right? But the twins, I felt the weight, the pressure. Like, okay, we've got to push.
Through your epidural.
Yes, through my epidural.
Oh,
like
wow.
I felt, oh my gosh, I've got to push. And I had not felt that with Tristan at all. Like they're coming down, like I'm going to push. So they're wheeling me in. George is with me. My doctor's there. And I never really, at that point, no, I'd never been in an OR and it is just sterile and white and you're on this really skinny metal bed. I mean, it had like some sort of pad, but it's not like a labor and delivery bed. Like I almost felt like I was so white at the time. I felt like I was like as white as the bed. Like I felt like I could fall off.
Oh, geez.
And they pop up the, nothing yet. So I'm pushing on this little OR bed. We start to push and Evelyn just slides right on out. She was baby A. She's my first coming out. She just literally, it was like, I felt like I pushed like not even 3 times. She just popped right out and she weighed 6'8".
Okay.
And so she
and
pops.
do you hold her right away or
they
take
show her to me
okay.
And I'm still, but they know I have to push again. So they don't. They just take her off. They're checking her vitals. They're checking her out. And so all of a sudden I'm just laying there, and literally it felt like a flash of a second. But I'm laying there getting ready to push again, and I could see her kind of like pressing on my stomach. And then she literally puts her arm up me, like I feel like almost to the elbow, trying to turn baby B, who's Emmett. And he is crazy enough transverse. So transverse means his back is flat to the cervix. So he's like, it's like a T. Like there's no feet or no head, no sunny side, head first, feet first.
Yeah. He's
breach.
blocking
He's blocking it.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming what happened there was, as soon as she just got out, he just swam around like, whoa, I got space. I got room. I'm moving.
Yeah.
And he just like moved around and like went down. And so, but the nervous part was again, this literally, they had to tell me later back what had happened because it felt so fast. She's trying to turn him, but they realize he's kind of leaning onto his umbilical cord. So then his blood pressure, I guess, his whatever, is starting to drop. And so then they're like, oh, we need to get him out right now. We can't wait for him to swim around. We've got to get him out.
Yeah.
So just like that, they pop up the blue
the
tarp
curtain.
thingy, curtain. There we go. The blue curtain. The only person that's telling me what's happening, I don't even know this is happening. I can tell she's like trying to move the baby, but they're speaking their language. And it literally felt like a 2-minute thing, even though I'm sure it was a few more minutes than that, but it literally felt like it happened in just a second. The anesthesiologist came over to tell me, okay, we're going to have to actually do a C-section right now.
So he was on call there for you.
The anesthesiologist? Yeah. Well, yeah, they were there because I have the epidural going.
Wow.
And I'm sure for any sort of OR service, they have to probably be in there.
Gosh, that's crazy.
So she starts pumping me heavier with drugs, and she is like, okay, we have to do an emergency C-section. I don't even know why at this point. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, okay, what is everything okay? And she's like, yep, you're going to feel tired and sleepy for a minute. We're going to get the baby out. Don't worry. And all at this time, they make George leave. A nurse comes to take George, and he's like, George, or can you follow me? And so he leaves me. And I remember just being like, so groggy. I could feel the meds kick in super fast. And it was funny. It was like a roller coaster of the meds too. Because at first I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't keep my eyes open. And then I kind of like came to a little bit. And then I felt like someone was sitting on my chest. I remember that so specifically. Like I couldn't catch my breath. And I felt like someone was sitting on me. And all I know is I felt some jerky movements in my stomach. Like just like they say, like the popping and the pushing the baby out. And then he popped out. And they come over and they show him to me. And I think shortly right after that, George comes back in and he's like seeing me, and then he's walking with the baby. And Emmett's not doing very good at first. Like he's kind of a little grayish, and they just want him to cry and like get him going. And so, but again, I'm so out of it. I'm not even really knowing what's happening.
Yeah.
And then they're sewing me up and getting me back together. And I remember I'm like kind of coming back to, and then I'm like, George. And then they bring me both babies wrapped up. I'm smiling. George is standing there. And I'm just like trying to kind of snap out of it, but I'm definitely groggy. So George leaves with the babies, stay with the babies. I was like, yeah, go with the babies. We're fine. And so I'm in there on that bed for quite a few longer because now not only do I have an episiotomy to sew up, I have a C-section scars or incision to sew up. So there's lots of sewing to happen.
Yeah.
And then so I'm in there, I don't even know, probably 30 more minutes cleaning up. And I'm just kind of out of it, but I'm there. Like I can remember looking up at the light and you can see the reflection of yourself in it. I just remember laying there, and then they moved me to recovery. And I remember I was in recovery for a long time. Like I think at that point my parents wanted to see me, George wanted to see me, and I was in recovery, and I wanted to see my babies. I hadn't seen the babies. I didn't know Emmett was struggling, so I wasn't like scared at the time, but I was like, oh my gosh, I want to see them. So I was in recovery really, which felt like an hour, just to get everything like cleared off, everything okayed for me.
Because wasn't it very bloody and all, I remember?
I remember, it's funny, I
just feel like I remember you saying it was so scary.
I remember when Evelyn came out, I want to say it was Evelyn. Like she had to break my water like fully, like it was dripping, but it wasn't. And I remember, I swear I heard like, it felt like a bucket of water. And I'm sure that was just gross. And then bloody, I'm trying to think.
Oh, I totally remember you saying that it was a weird or like a gnarly scene. I feel
scene from just in the OR.
Yeah.
And yes. I remember just seeing lots of bloody towels and her gloves and just like, but I'm also so like out of it too. And the curtain was up for most of it. So thankfully I wasn't like really exposed to it all because I'm sure I would have just been like freaking out. But they had me pretty drugged up. So that was good. And I didn't feel a thing. Like you always get so scared thinking, because especially when you just have an epidural, thinking, does that numb everything cutting into the abdomen? Like, is that all numbed up? So she numbed me up good. I didn't feel a thing. Thank the heavens, because that would be so scary. Or I think of people that don't have an epidural. And what if they do have to go into emergency C-section or something crazy? Like, do they always have time to numb you enough? Like,
I know.
Oh my gosh. So thankfully I had no pain. And I remember just being in recovery and just being like, whoa, what just happened?
What just happened?
Because Evelyn was so breezy. Like, you would not believe. I swear I like was almost like I sneezed and she popped out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and just, she was only like a pound smaller than her older brother, Tristan, but she just like seemed so easy and light and popped right out.
Yeah.
And then it just took a really quick turn. And Emmett was 6'4", and he did struggle at first. They had him in the nursery for a while. Like, his breathing was kind of strained, and he was doing something where he was singing, which like he like whistles, and so they're concerned. I don't know, but everything he cleaned up really quick. Like he wasn't in like, serious jeopardy for like very long. They just like wanted him to get his vitals together, and then that test where they test you. What's it called?
I don't remember.
Their pinkness, and they pinch you and they do all those things.
Yes.
He scored super low. Evie was like right on average, but he was low. So they were like, oh no. And so they like watched him, and then they do it like an hour later, and he scored better.
Okay.
And then I know that my mom and my father-in-law, Ron, they both went in there a few times to be with Emmett. And then I think George finally came to me, and then we went into labor and delivery room. Or no, I'm sorry. What's it called?
The postpartum room?
Postpartum. Yes, postpartum room.
Uh-huh.
And then I got to see my babies.
Oh.
So they came in, and it was so funny. Evelyn was baby A, and she's just like roly-poly chubby. She was only 4 ounces bigger, but she was just this bright red, chubby little baby. And then you had Emmett, who was not like, he wasn't gray, but he just wasn't as like pink and flash, and he wasn't as chubby, which is so funny. He just had this like little, and he had the C-section
baby.
But
he was pretty.
He was the pretty baby because he was C-section. He didn't have to go through the birth canal, so he wasn't all squishy, and he wasn't as chubby as her. So he just had this, and what was so funny too, 2 things. I've told recently how my sisters, before I even came out of recovery, Instagram my babies. So I didn't even get to make the debut.
Mm-hmm.
And then B, Emmett had a big birthmark on the side of his head.
Yeah.
And I did not know about that also because I hadn't seen him yet. But my sisters come in and they're like, yeah, he's a big birthmark on the side of his head. And they're kind of freaking me out. Like,
oh, no.
And of course, nothing's wrong with that. But I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, where is it at? Is it on his face? Like, is it in his scalp? Like, what do you mean? And he had this very big, and at birth, it was literally like a black birthmark. And it actually was tucked right behind his hairline above his ear. So it was like going to be fine.
Yeah.
But I was a little like,
yeah.
Oh, wait, is it on his face? Like, what are we talking about? Is it like a serious thing? Do we need to look into that?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny, it was dark till he got hair. And then when his hair grew in, it grew black there.
Yeah.
And he had this bleach blonde hair with a black strip. And believe it or not, now that he's 8, it's shrunk down super small.
Really?
It's like hardly even noticeable now.
Oh my
It's very strange. Even the black strip of hair is only a few hairs.
Whoa.
It's still very coarse right there, but it doesn't, like, you can't even see an outline on his scalp, and you can barely see the black hair.
No way.
It's very weird.
It was so prominent.
It was so prominent. For till he was probably 3 or 4. And now he's 8, and it's so different.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Wow.
So that was a really long go, but there you go. That was like, so I had battle wounds from both. Recovery was kind of a doozy. And then not to mention, going home with twins and nursing twins. And so it's all kind of a blur. Like some days I'm like, wow, how did I really survive those first 2 weeks? Like just between the miserable pain of a C-section scar, like incision, and then
I know.
2
but
babies.
You did so gracefully
I don't
in a
know.
weird way.
It's like it was crazy.
And you had a 2-year-old at home.
And I had Tristan running around.
I mean, let's not forget that. That's an
It was a
important
wild
factor
time.
here.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So that was like, and anytime I tell like a twin mom that story, like this is like the double duty, crazy, no one would ever want to happen. And even my OB is like, this has happened maybe twice in my whole experience.
No.
Like this just never happens.
Of course.
And so I'm like, wow, okay, I really have a story to tell. I really have a badge to wear, I guess.
Yeah, you totally do. Oh my gosh.
Enough about me.
I have like nowhere near any of those experiences.
No, but every birth is like trying and exhausting, but exciting.
Oh,
and
it totally is.
all of it.
Mine are relatively like very much the same in many ways. So like, I'm not even going to touch on each one, but like for every single pregnancy, so I'm from Texas. I think I've mentioned that a handful of times. And I really, really, really wanted my mother in the room, which let's talk about that really quick.
Yeah.
Did you have anyone in the room with you all when you were giving birth?
I never had anyone in the room. No. It was just George and I every time. I asked my mom, like, are you interested and do you want to? And she was like, no.
Yeah.
So she just like, I don't know. I don't know if it like kind of stressed her out or if she just rather it be for the parents, but she never came in.
And I feel like that was super. Well, I feel like a lot of people still do that, but a lot of people also have big audiences.
Yeah, it's do.
Really interesting.
That's really foreign to me.
Yeah.
Even if I had my mom in there, that would be like a big deal for me. I don't think I could go really beyond that. I did, like I said, ask my sister that time. I remember it was just so like quick when it was time, and I just kind of threw it out to her, and I'm glad I did, but she as well was just like, no, you guys do it. It's okay. Yeah. I think being in an OR is scary, period. So, I mean, I get that.
Totally. I get that too. But for me, I don't know why. I've always been really like close to my mom. My mom's a nurse.
Yeah.
I kind of trusted having her in there with me. I don't know. So for every single one of my births, it was me, my husband, my mom, and my mother-in-law. And I'm super close to my mother-in-law too. And it was like amazing. Neither one of the grandmothers overstepped. They all like just offered, like what? Oh. They all just kind of like held my hand, stroked my hair, like all the things.
Well, they're so awesome, both of them.
No, they are. So it was like really nice. And then on the other hand too, my husband just gets like super, like he does not like blood, like anything like that. And so he stayed up by my head the entire time.
Yes.
He didn't want to like see anything that was going on down there. What was George like?
George was a little bit of both. He wasn't like parked at the bottom, but he was like, he would look. He was like, okay, yeah, I see hair. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, yeah. Like but I have to really quick add on. As you said that, having your mother-in-law, I do remember in my mother-in-law did somehow end up in
She did.
delivery.
Yes, I remember now.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
that's
kind of
so
was
funny.
like it ended up. Yeah, she ended up being there. Just kind of the time she timed it right.
Yeah.
So she ended up kind of being in the back and taking pictures
when it all happened.
Yes,
that's so
I did
right.
forget that.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah, and so all of my labors were like relatively the same, for lack of better words. Like I said, I wanted my mom to be there, so we planned it out every single time. I did it at 39 weeks with my doctor. But gratefully for all of my pregnancies, I had already reached 2 or 3 centimeters dilation at that point. I was already effaced like 70%. I was like well enough along where I met the criteria, because they don't let you just go get induced anymore.
Right.
Like
it is interesting how it's kind of slowed down.
Oh yeah, because they don't want to encourage C-sections. And so, or at least back, 3 years ago when I was like in all of this, there was a huge rise in the number of C-sections that were occurring. And they kind of attributed that to scheduled inductions that they lasted too long, things went awry, and then it led to a C-section, right? And I have heard horror stories where people are like on Pitocin for 2 days, and then they're taken off and they have to go walk around and do the balloon thing. And it's just a nightmare.
Right. Oh,
Mine was never that way. So I went in every single time and started the Pitocin drip, and it was like no big deal to me. I don't know. It was really weird. And then my doctor would come in, pop my, break my water, break my water with a little hook, which is kind of gnarly.
I know. Yes.
Oh my
yes.
gosh. They have a hook that goes on the end of their finger and they literally like go up in there and prick it. And then you start leaking, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
So I always waited until after that moment to get my epidural. What about you? Did you get your epidural before or after your water breaking?
Well, it's funny. Like you'd hear both. Like, don't get it too early or it wears off, but then don't wait too long or you'll miss it. So I feel like I usually shortly after my water broke, because that's when the pain kicked in, and you knew at least things were kick-started.
Things are moving along.
Yeah. So usually just shortly after that.
So with all of my babies, weirdly enough, I would get to like a 5. Like I would kind of start dilating to like a 5 on the Pitocin. And my contractions with all my babies up until that point, they were not bad. Like I could see them on the screen and like I would feel the tightening and all of it, but like it was bearable. And you know it's ending. You're able to watch it. Like you're in the room. It's such a mental thing I'll get to more contracting in just a minute when I talk about Luke. But anyway, so I got it at like a 5, get my epidural. And then from that point on, like, I feel like things just kind of progressed. Kate, I pushed with her for about 15 minutes. With Landon, he like shot right out, just like Evie.
Yes.
It was super quick and easy. Like I literally think I took one breath in, like, and then like pushed and it came out.
Oh my gosh.
And then with Luke, it was really quick when we got to the pushing point too. The one thing I have to say about Luke's experience is my epidural. Do you remember what happened with me?
Well, I remember it went a little haywire.
It went haywire, and it was gnarly, guys. It was terrible.
Your legs.
No, I had a contraction during the epidural, as I'm getting the epidural. So they sit you up on a bed.
Right.
They sit you, like, put your legs on the side of the bed, and you're sitting
Bend
up.
over.
And she goes around your back, and, you know, she starts feeling your spine and everything.
It's like kind of, honestly, the hardest part of pregnancy.
It is.
Or delivery.
It's hard.
Because it's so, like, it's so eerie.
It
to know
is.
there's like a needle right there. It's not even the needle pain, but just the sensitivity you want to hold still.
Yeah.
It's just freaky.
Yeah, it was crazy. So as she's putting the epidural needle in the first time, I have a bad contraction and my body moves and essentially she like missed and I felt the needle like dig into me big time. Okay.
See right there.
It was gnarly and I'm contracting and all of it and screaming my head off. And this is where my mom comes in because she always did the epidural with me and Jeremy was nowhere in sight because he didn't like to see me in pain.
Oh yeah.
He didn't want to see the needle. So my mom always held it down with me. And that experience was horrible. So she's like, oh my God, okay, we're going to wait for it to pass. She pulls that one out, redoes it. And from there, I'm okay, right? So I'm laying down. But then it all just went haywire. For the next hour and a half, my blood pressure dropped like super low. I like can't feel my legs and the epidural like started rising up my body. Did you ever have that?
No.
Where you literally feel numb up to your neck?
No.
Oh yeah. It was like
But
crazy.
see, you hear the stories of epidurals gone wrong and how it can affect the mom or the baby. And that's why I've always just been like, so scared of it, but at the same time, I can't like not do it.
I'm so hesitant to share the story because I believe in epidurals and they saved me on so many levels.
For me too.
And it's like, as soon as I had those problems, like they're in there, they fix it, you're good to go. But it's like, it was turned up too much. And like, I could feel it rising up my body to where I'm literally paralyzed up to my neck. Like, and I'm like, Mom, like something's weird. My blood pressure drops. They come in, they adjusted. It was fine. But like, that was crazy.
That is so crazy.
It was so crazy.
No, but didn't you have aftermath from it too? Kind of like some headaches or pain
I
afterwards?
was sore. I was like sore. And I think it was just like the soreness of the needle, like going in the wrong spot, essentially.
Yes, right.
But yeah, it was nothing like to be concerned about. But so anyway, so that was that.
Gosh.
And then with each of my babies, after I got my epidural, I weirdly took a nap. Like after you get comfortable, you kind of can breathe again. I would take like an hour nap or whatever. And then when I wake up, I had my babies. It was really weird.
Yeah, I love that.
So I don't know. It was kind of consistent for all 3 of them. My babies were all like 7 pounds, 15 ounces, 8 pounds in that range. Like they were healthy babies. They were all jaundicey after birth. So they have that like orange look to them.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to kind of deal with that. But I mean, really, really good experiences for me.
I know.
And I loved all my nurses. I didn't have any like crazy nurse experience
I know,
or anything.
but isn't that the truth? A nurse like makes maybe or breaks, but I've always had such good nurses that it's made it so great and so easy. You can ask the questions. They're so helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, they're the best.
I know. So the one caveat story that I'll make this quick, I have to share with my laboring experience is with Luke, my third pregnancy. I started contracting with him 6 weeks before I had him.
That's right. The Braxton Hicks and all that.
It was hardcore contractions, guys.
I remember that.
And I didn't know what was going on. I lost my, what is the plug?
Yeah, the mucus plug.
Mucus plug. Lost it twice. Literally saw it in the toilet. Okay. And so I had two false.
That's so crazy.
What do you call it? False alarms. I had two false alarms where we're going to the hospital. I think we're doing this. I lost my mucus plug. I'm hurting like hell. Like those contractions were 1,000 times worse than the Pitocin contractions. Because again, it's a mental game. You don't know what's going on. You're like, okay, this is it. You're crying, you're stressed, they hurt, they're inconsistent,
right.
like they're intense, you know? So, oh my gosh, those 6 weeks were just like pure hell. Like my mom actually came from Texas for 6 weeks to live with me and help me with my other 2 children. I'm grateful forever to her for doing that. But I tried it all to get that baby out.
Right.
Because we had to make it to 39 weeks. The hospital would not let me go any earlier.
Oh.
And so I tried the castor oil.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, so much of it.
Miserable.
And miserable. I tried everything in the books, you guys, and nothing worked. It's all fake. It all doesn't work. When that baby wants to come out, they'll come out. But it's just like, oh gosh.
I have to agree. The castor oil, we did it for our first with Tristan, and I just was sick.
It gave me massive diarrhea.
And it was horrible.
Don't do it.
And then who even really knows if that
with your primrose oil?
Who knows? Psh.
I feel like I tried it all.
It just happened to work that day. No, yeah, talking about being overdue for sure. My third pregnancy, birthday boy this week.
Yeah.
He did not want to come out. He was 11 days overdue.
Oh, gosh.
And we were also, because I guess September is like the busiest month to have a baby because of
Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas, like New Year's, like, you know, fun times. So I don't know. The beds were full and they could just not take me to be induced for days. And then I started to get nervous because I started reading about like how you can be too overdue and like then your body stops feeding the baby because it's like too big and too grown and you have to get it out. So I was like starting to really freak out. And there were like, I think like 2 times we went down and they had to send us home. And another time they like sent us home. And I was like, oh my gosh, when is this baby going to come? So finally they had room for me. I get induced and it was a long process. I remember feeling so much defeat and frustration in that delivery. I remember just crying to George, like just because I didn't want to have a C-section. I was trying so hard to go back for a VBAC.
Right.
I wanted to have a vaginal birth with him. This would have been my last one after Emmett. And so I was trying so hard for a VBAC, but you can only, be on Pitocin and be induced for so long. And he like would not come out. But I was like, guys, nurses, people, doctors, like he's been in there like 10 days overdue. Like this is concerning now. I'm getting like nervous.
Right.
So C-section was on the table and they were kind of like giving me, okay, you have till this time tomorrow and then we have to do a C-section. And I just remember crying to George, just being like, I just feel like I've gone through all of this and this has been
helpless.
such torture and there's nothing I can do. And we did the balloon and we did Pitocin. I sat on a ball. Like I did all these things and nothing was moving it. And then finally things kind of picked up and then we just got there really quick. But
I know,
man, I remember just those like 10 days, 2 weeks even, because I even thought, oh, he'll probably come a few days early and Oh, it was torture.
Oh my gosh, I do remember that.
Yeah, he was 9'6", clearly because he got to like cook a lot longer than my others. And I just remember when he came out, he was like my biggest baby, just like in length and width and everything and size. And I just remember when he came out, I felt like he was coming out for like ever, like literally pushing him. I felt like they were just pulling his body for like ever. Like it just felt like he was like this ginormous baby. And then I remember seeing him and I was like, I felt like he was ginormous.
Yeah.
And then at this hospital, it was a different hospital than my prior 3. They don't weigh or wash them the first day. They wait 24 hours. I don't know. So I was dying to know what he weighed.
Oh my gosh.
And then finally they weighed him and he was 9'6". I was like, holy cow.
Oh
my big
gosh.
baby.
Yes,
My big baby.
Caleb.
9'6" on 9'6".
Oh, well, that's good to end it on. So
Yeah.
any of you out there who are preggers and on high bake, hang in there.
I know.
We have been there. We know the frustration.
We definitely feel you right now too with this hot summer. Being pregnant in the summer or due like at the end of summer is rough. Clearly, I did it 3 times. I had August birthdays 3 weeks ago. I had Caleb this week. I don't know. I survived the summer. It was torture. But
it is torture. It's crazy. Okay, let's get into our hits and misses for the episode. What was your hit of the week?
My hit was just, I know you're probably like, shut up, Lauren, but I would say my keto. I feel like I found a new groove that I'm really liking. Now, have I lost a ton of weight? No, I've lost a few pounds and I do have a few more to go. And I know it's funny because I'm eating what's allowed on it. And it's so funny because when I diet, I never think to eat cream or cheese or like, I mean, and not to mention keto is such a big diet. There's so many products out there that they make keto friendly. So really, if you want to like bake something, you can use almond flour and that gets, reduces the carbs heavily and all these things. So there's so many options that I'm like, wow, to me, this is actually super sustainable.
Oh, I know. Well, we got Chipotle the other night.
Yes.
And
I've
been trying to do like low carb, low sugar. And no joke, we both got salads. Mine was literally lettuce, chicken, and pico. And hers is like lettuce, double steak, sour cream, cheese, like all this
and
guacamole.
Guac. The things that I never think to eat when I'm on a diet. And that's the thing. No,
it's too good to be true.
No, okay. But see, what I'm coming to realize is I need to hit it really clean and hard for like a week where I just really do low carb.
This
that's
is more
gonna
maintenance
be
mode.
Meat and veggies.
Yeah.
And this will be maintenance mode.
Yeah.
Even though I've been able to drop a few of the fluff pounds, I know for me to like hit the hard pounds that just do not want to come off, I'm going to have to hit it hard for a week or so and then get into that maintenance. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I'm really finally understanding like this process and I'm really liking it.
Good.
I do think that this could be something that works for me because I think there's enough options for me to feel not deprived, but yet making smarter choices where it's more of a high fat and a low carb where your body balances it out and it burns that fat because the carbs aren't there.
Oh my gosh.
So it's an interesting thing. I really am liking it. So that's my hit.
And if you want to hear our drama stories with our
diet
weight loss,
dramas,
you need to go listen to our episode on weight loss.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard it.
And it's funny because I do say at the end, keto's the one diet I've never done. So here I am, you guys, yo-yo dieter, trying the last one on the books.
We have tried it all between the two of us.
We really have.
It's crazy, but that's so exciting. Mm-hmm. I hope it is your unicorn diet.
I hope so. I think so. I hope so.
That's good. Okay, well, my hit of the week is Landon is in school now.
Oh.
And more to come on that next week. In next week's episode, we're going to talk about it a lot more. But I got my Landon into a full day kindergarten in person.
Amen.
And it has been a literal game changer in our household on so many levels. And no, not on that I have a babysitter level. Not on that at all. I mean, his like stimulation, he's now been like mentally stimulated. He's seeing other children. He's having recess and playtime and playing Pokemon games out in recess and like meeting new friends and like all of the social, emotional things that school does for children. I have seen it happen for him. And I'm
and especially a kindergartner because they're so eager and they want that experience. They've never had it before.
I know.
So that's so good.
Yeah. So that has definitely been our hit. And we're going to do a whole episode on more to come next week.
Yes, about school choices
Tune
and
in for
options,
that.
what we're doing.
We're going to just be real and raw with you about what we have thought this whole process.
Yeah, we both made some changes and we want to share them.
Yeah, exactly. We're not ashamed. We're going to own it and put everything out there like we always do. So that was my hit. What was your miss?
My miss isn't like my personal miss, but just something that's like so weird and goofy in society right now that I just had to throw out.
Oh, no.
No, it's like minor. But what is with people and wearing a mask in the car? Literally today, I pulled out of dropping my kids off and this car drove past me and both driver and passenger were wearing the masks. I was like, what is happening and why? Like, is that a couple wearing a mask together in their car?
I don't know.
I don't, but I see it a lot. Even 2 days ago, we drove up next to this car and the guy had it hanging from his ear. And I just was looking, I was like, oh, that's funny.
I was just about to say.
But then he puts it on while we're sitting at the stoplight.
Shut
and I'm
up.
like, why? Why did he put it back on? He's in his car.
No, I was just about to say that's the one exception is when I'm running. I've gotten out of Target and I'm going into the grocery store and I have it hanging from my ear.
Well, yes, because, and it's almost like I forget to take it off. I'm pushing the cart. My kids, come on. And I'm like unloading the groceries and stuff. And I'm like, why is my mask still on? And I rip it off.
Oh my gosh.
So I get that. But I'm like, I do think there's some people that think like that's effective or preventing something or helpful. I'm like, I can get anti-bac in your car and wash your hands before you get in the car. Yeah. But keeping your mask on in your car is stumping me. And I just think it's funny.
So funny.
And I will say mad props to people that are running with their masks on. I think that's like next to impossible, but I will see it here and there. And again, I don't feel that's necessary. You are not by anybody. You're not by anybody long enough to share your germs, like all the things. So it's like
in the fresh air.
And you're in fresh air. Like breathe in that air and like get some like endorphins and enjoy your oxygen. Like that is so silly to me. But I did go back to the gym. I should have used that as my hit. Maybe I will next week. But you have to wear masks at the gym. And it's like working out in a mask. You guys, if my chin breaks out one more time, I'm going to smack someone.
I know. That's going to be her major miss.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my miss is, speaking of Amazon, actually, my Luke got on a purchasing frenzy this week. We have a fire stick.
What?
Yeah, we have a fire stick in my bedroom. And apparently I have all the parental controls set up online. Oh, I totally do. But there's this little asterisk when you sign in that says, for any fire devices, parental controls must be set up on the devices themselves. So, public service announcement to all the parents out there. Should you have a Kindle, a fire stick, anything, log into the settings, set up the parental controls, because no joke, girl.
How much?
I start getting, about $100.
What is he ordering?
Just like Paw Patrol Season 1, Daniel Tiger Season 3.
So it shows.
He's just clicking. He was watching
I thought he somehow got into like Amazon store. And I was like, how does he know what to find?
He was watching Prime TV in my bed one morning.
And
he's just clicking, click.
Oh,
buy.
Did they refund you?
I haven't even had time to call him. Literally, the week has just been that. I haven't even had time to deal with it.
Shoot, I'm sure they will.
Oh my gosh, it's literally like he hasn't watched it. It's like he was jumping one to next, like boom, boom. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
They get you at that crap. Oh my gosh.
I was pissed.
I thought you literally meant like he was on the Amazon app buying stuff. And I'm like, what did he buy? I can remember this one time this happened to me, only one time, is Tristan bought like 10 fidget spinners. Like he went in with intention. Yeah. And I was like, what?
I totally remember that.
Yeah.
And you were like selling them on the black market after.
Black market. Let's get rid of these.
I know. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that'll do us for this show. If you liked what you heard, please go leave us a rating and a review. It really is the only way we're able to grow. And we are so, so grateful anytime that we see a new one on there. Thanks so much.
Yes.
You can find us on social media at the Mom Voice Podcast. We're on Instagram throughout the week.
Yes, we are.
We share a lot of behind the scenes. You can get to know us. We'll answer any questions you have. Hit us up on there. And then make sure you're subscribed to the show. We have some fun guests coming up, some fun interviews.
Yes.
And like I said, we're going to deep dive into the school situation, our thoughts, things on that next week. So come back.
Yeah, some updates there. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Take care of each other.
All right. Bye-bye.